score in many ways with many people doing it outside of Morgan Jones for Pitt. Counter that, protect the paint. They can block shots, dominate the glass, and most importantly, value offensive possessions. This is a team that when they take care of the ball, they can make some things happen on the offensive end.
That is certainly what Coach Lance White was telling us earlier. We have to make sure that we take the ball as we're just underway, and Florida State starts off with the ball in their away black jerseys, Pitt in their yellow jerseys as well. And you see in the middle for Pitt, they have Mary Dunn making the start, one of the two seniors on this roster. The other one is Ismini Prapa. And that's blocked right at the rim, something we knew that they could do right away. One of the best teams in the ACC as far as protecting the paint.
Just such a stout defensive team, especially with protecting the rim and protecting the paint. This is exactly what they want to do. They want to keep them out the paint and force Florida State to take tough twos.
See the starting lineup for the Panthers, trying to get things going. You can see them taking a lot of air out of the ball to start as well, taking care of the ball, but also getting the shot they want. 5 on the shot clock. Harris, shot off the mark. And right away, a nice look on the inside. That goes to River Baldwin, who has had an incredible last few games, stepping up more offensively for the Noles.
That's exactly what they need. And you saw the run out by the big girl, and they rewarded her just for that. And I love that. Florida State, great in transition.
Florida State known to use their speed, trying to get easy buckets in transition. Another key for the Panthers, limiting those touches and open looks in the open floor. Buska with the bucket, and that's no good. And so we're going to see if Florida State can continue to build their interior presence. Gordon with the 3.
You see great things happen when you play through the paint. Just because they're getting the ball in the revolving, she doesn't necessarily have to score every single time. You saw that play. She got it in the post and just kicked it right back out. And the freshman just able to knock down the 3 there.
Florida State with an early 5-0 lead and a turnover underneath. So the Noles will get it back. There is a substitution underneath as we're going back to the 3.
Look at their kick out. Great kick out by River Baldwin to the 3-point basket. And you talk about Gordon, just her confidence coming into this league as a freshman. She has been amazing and outstanding for the Seminoles and continuing to grow.
First true freshman to start for the Noles since Courtney Ward, and I can tell you, those are big shoes to fill. Courtney Ward, one of the best point guards I've ever played with, and this ACC has seen one of the legends that was actually honored during the tournament a few years back as well. A nice dish underneath for the first 2 points for the Panthers.
Execute. Coach Lance, he draws up some great plays for them, and when they're able to execute and take care of the ball, you'll see some great things happen for these Panther squad on the offensive end.
So Amber Brown, we mentioned her at the top of the program and how consistent she's been. She has the first 2 points for the Panthers. And there's a jump ball.
That's just a great drive and drop right there. Right to Amber Brown, who I said, right place and right time. And great pass there by Harris. And then you saw on the other end, the block shot. Not by 1, but by 2 Panther players. That's a block party. That's a block party for you.
It's already started. Amber Brown took a seat for the Panthers. Harris. Bejdi at the top of the key finds Baldwin. A little bit more rotation, and it's the execution that you mentioned that gets Howard the open look from distance.
Yeah, and they keep going to it, playing through the paint, whether it's playing through Baldwin in the low post or playing through in the high post. They're getting so many different looks from not just scoring in the paint, but around the perimeter as well.
Erin Howard missed the first 7 games due to injury. Now she's had 16 consecutive starts, and she's been on fire for this team. Coach Sue Simrow mentioned how they need more players to continue to stretch the floor so the Panthers can't sit in the inside. And for sure, Howard has been one of those players to start.
Yeah, just able to stretch out and knock down the 3. We've seen her there. And we've got Sammy Puisis here on the outside, one of the lethal snipers for Florida State.
I just saw a look at Coach Sue's resume. Also the 2015 AP, WBCA, and ESPNW National Coach of the Year Award. Has 15 NCAA tournaments, 4-time ACC Coach of the Year as well, and that's a block underneath that gets Florida State another look.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Meyer said, you guys are gonna get some blocks, so am I. But the answer back from Ibagwe, who we know is just one of the best in shot blocks in the ACC and ranked nationally as well.
Third in the ACC in blocks. We already mentioned how Pitt is second in the ACC in blocks, and it's just going back and forth as far as blocks as Morgan Jones has one on her stat line as well. Bejadi all the way to the bucket, can't connect, but it's cleaned up by Aaron Howard, who is doing really well for the Noles to start this one off with an early 5 points. Their senior night back on Thursday, you saw there Sarah Bejadi with the 3. Morgan Jones was also on fire. She finished with 21 points, or two of them. Bianca Jackson with the last bucket for the Noles. Actually, it went pretty scary for the Noles. There was a turnover by Morgan Jones at half court. They gave him 3 more seconds. Troutmanoff could not hit the 3, so they survive and advance 65 to 63. A little bit of March Madness that you can see for this squad. A little early, but they're looking at it. But more importantly, it's about the wins that Florida State continues to collect as they are still trying to figure out where they're going to land or if they're going to get into that NCAA bracket talk. Right now, they're the first 4 out, but it is nice that they are now back in that net 50 conversation. You saw the big wins that they had against Notre Dame. They also beat Duke. You saw on that graphic as well what that looks like for them, but it's very important that they continue to win out.
Yeah, they want to continue to finish strong. That's what's more important. You know, finish this game, get this win today, and then moving forward into ACC tournament, they need to get a win in that first game if they want to still be in that conversation.
It was interesting talking with Sue Simround before that shoot around. He said, good win against Georgia Tech. She said, we still got to finish. And that's the mentality of this group at this point, knowing that there's a lot on the line. Stoppage of play on the side, and the officials are right now looking at the shot clock, so we'll see if there's any adjustment there. And in the meantime, let's look at Lance White. He had 15 seasons at FSU, and he was a part of that staff for a great time. I'll say just being a part of the Nole team with Coach Sue as a head coach and then Lance White as associate head coach and being a part of those NCAA programs. It's really surreal having both of them here and being able to talk about them. But Coach White continues to try and lead this program, tie the most wins that they've had in his tenure with 11. And he says we have a lot to build on. He also said we want to play a bit of a spoiler for Florida State. So a shot clock violation as Rita Ibakwe could not get a nice look off the glass as the officials change that up.
Yeah, that's the mentality that Coach Lance has coming in and playing into these last stretch of games. They want to give these teams their best. Like you said, spoiler game. They want to have that chance to play. And you saw they played very well the other night against Louisville. They didn't pull out the win, but it was a very unexpected, hard, gritty grind of the game all the way until the end.
7 on the shot clock for the Noles. Outside shot for Jackson off the mark. And seeing a little bit of transition from the Panthers. That's tipped away from behind. Bejadi. That's 4 turnovers for the Panthers at this point. You mentioned taking care of the ball is key for the Panthers.
And Coach Lance mentioned it. He said they have a hard time doing so because they don't have a true point guard, a true primary ball handler on the team that can sashay their way up the court to be able to push in a fast break.
Amber Brown with the rebound. That's something she's known to do. Somewhat of a hybrid type player, can shoot from the outside, known for inside presence, but is a rebounding guard. So there's a foul on the play that's going to go against Florida State as they have a couple of substitutions as well.
And Coach Timeout, you're going to see that she plays deep into her bench and she subs a lot. You'll see a lot of fresh legs running in and out the game, and a lot of different looks too when you talk about just the different players that they have coming in and out.
So another turnover with an offensive foul charge against Pittsburgh. Looking at the starters, you mentioned it. Just as how important the starters are, but the bench contributing in a great way.
Yeah, outscoring opponents from the bench with their bench players. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She's subbing them, they're coming in, and they're producing on the offensive end, and must be a luxury as a coach to be able to have those different options.
The last couple of possessions for Florida State, they've gone cold from deep. They're right now shooting 33% from the field, but the Panthers still continue to struggle as they're sitting at 1 for 8 from the floor. Bejidi trying to see if she can find something. Can't. Baldwin with a nice slice into the inside for another 2.
Yeah, just a great cut by River Baldwin. That's what I love about her most. She's a big girl, but she's active with her feet. She's going to move up and down the lane, and that's how she gets her open shots.
And how about this? She can potentially lead FSU in threes, too. She can extend the floor a great deal.
Oh, you know us post players, yeah, we want to shoot it from, yeah, you know, I'm going to have to bring it up. We want to shoot from the outside.
On the inside, the and one goes to Rita Igbokwe. Nice hands for her to finish.
Yeah, that's something she's improved on tremendously throughout her career is her hands, and she's working more on her offensive production. But on the other end, let's look at this look. River Baldwin just cutting right to the basket, and Rita was just falling too short behind her, trailing, and then, but on the other end, she gets the ball and just great, nice finish. And we talked about the hands. That was a great catch there.
So River Baldwin got the 2 points on one end, but also picked the foul up on the other side. So you'll see some of this full court pressure from the Panthers. We'll see how the Noles adjust. And right away, Amaria Gordon gets the ball, the true freshman who has been outstanding for the Noles in her first year. So we'll stay with the Panthers. They get it underneath with about 20 seconds left on the shot clock.
And Amaria Gordon, I want to talk real quick. I love the way she handled that press. She drew the 2 defenders in and just passed it. Didn't turn it over, didn't try to do anything. That's maturity and growth as a freshman point guard.
And how about the find underneath as she gets Mariana, Valenzuela will step up to the free throw line. But you mentioned it's just the poise that she's been able to have with this team, and that is a lot. Just coming in as a freshman and just being that floor general. We've seen that from a couple of players in the ACC. Olivia Miles, another player that has been outstanding in her freshman season with Notre Dame.
She is an outstanding player. And Notre Dame, I mean, they just have a young squad, period. Coach Ivey doing great things as a young coach with a young squad.
All right, well, we close out today's women's basketball quadruple header with an exciting matchup for you right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Elisa Canane and number 3 NC State are in Blacksburg to take on number 23 Virginia Tech. The Wolfpack lead the ACC at 16-1, while the Hokies are in third at 13-4. Virginia Tech, one of those teams that shouldn't surprise everyone with them being ranked. They were solid last year, but everything that Kenny Brooks continues to do for that squad, they have been remarkable. Swept Duke in this season as well. And that's going to be a great matchup, something you definitely have to set your DVR for.
Kitley and Kunane in the post. It's going to be a paint party. I'm excited for that one.
Short shot clock again for the Panthers. That off the mark. And the Noles come out of the pack, moving in transition. Morgan Jones tried to corral it in, but that's going to fly out of bounds. But before that, there is a foul on the play, so we'll actually stay with Florida State. So Malia Johnson and Liatu King check in for the Panthers. Destiny Struther will take a seat, as well as Rita Igbokwe. And Struther is one of those players, too, that has to get hot for the Panthers. She is their most consistent outside shooter, so she gets a breather, but we want to see how she progresses throughout the game.
And she's been producing tremendously offensively, especially from beyond the arc, as she's been coming off the bench in the game. She gives this Panther team a great spark and stretches out the floor. With the ball.
see Liatu King just dishing it off. Coach White wants her to be a little bit more aggressive getting to her shot. Harris will dial up her own number. That one falls in. Right now, Harris 0 for 3 from the floor, and she's usually one of those players that gets things going for the Panthers early offensively.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to need from her. They're going to need for her to start making some shots and start getting hot to get this Pitt offense going.
Gordon with the mid-range game, that's short. Rebounded by the Panthers, and they're trying to push in transition.
That's what the Panthers wanted, tough twos, and we have to see if they can convert. And Houston did a great job running the floor. They just missed her there.
You know how important it is for the guards to reward their post players for running the floor?
And when they don't,
I think this is going to be an and one, actually, for the Panthers.
Leska just with the crossover up against the freshman and just finishes the big body.
So Amaria Gordon picks up her first personal foul, and what about the finish? You saw the level of difficulty there.
And she's just on the free throw line chilling like, yeah, I do this. It's nothing.
Well, she is a 90% free throw shooter, so you are right, she does do this.
Pitt trying to turn up the press again. Florida State, they've just been very poised and they've done a great job against the press, just passing around, getting it to the middle and getting it up the floor.
Seeing if they can execute on their half-court set. They're approaching that 10-second mark on their shot clock. Less than 30 seconds left in this first quarter. The ball is actually going to stay with Florida State so they can get the last shot of the quarter with 18.5 left on the clock. Very mindful. They scored out of their half-court underneath basket. The last possession, just see if they can get something at the top of the key to reset with Gordon. A foul on the play with about 5 seconds left. A blocking call, actually. Andrea Kleska picks up her first foul. So they're trying to see if they can figure out if it was on the floor or an actual shot foul, but they actually deemed it to be on the floor. So once again, they will get the ball and take it out underneath.
And Pitt, they've done a great job defensively executing the defensive inbound plays. They are staying tight on the curls because they know that's what Florida State wants to do. They want to do tight curls and get a bucket. And Pitt with the rebound.
Howard had a nice look under the basket. However, they cannot convert. So right now we're sitting at Florida State taking care of business 13-7. And when we come back, it is so much bigger than basketball. We'll share the story of Tiana England.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What if we could go further? Jump
to me in this world than there's more in this world, than there was to me.
I think it's so awesome that even with her sharing her story at that point, she said so many people are reaching out to her via social media, sharing their stories as well. So it just shows you how this platform of playing basketball, you can share your story. You can obviously live out your passions on the floor, but it's so much bigger when you're looking at different syndromes or causes that these players are fighting for and examples for as well.
And I love how she's sharing awareness, because not too many people, if you ask them, they don't know about the POTS disease or POTS illness, excuse me. And as you see her senior photos here, her and mom, and I know mom was proud just to be able to see her baby girl out there on the court, and it was just such a special moment. You know, I watched that game for Georgia Tech, and to see her out there for those first few minutes on the floor, I know it's something that she's missing, but she's such a great teammate and a great leader vocally from the bench.
Fastest St. John player to reach 500 career assists, and let it be known too, as Morgan Jones can't connect on that 15-footer, that she can still hold it down for the scout team. We were talking with Coach Sue Simmeround, and she mentioned just how she will step in every now and again on the scout team for this squad. So still a big part of the prep for this roster and what they're trying to do to move forward.
And coach said she built her stamina up to where she's able to get going for at least, you know, over an hour. So she's been progressing and doing a lot better and doing whatever she can to help out her teammates. And long two there.
So Kleska with the bucket, that makes it 13-9, and Pittsburgh has been in desperation mode as far as the points. They have 2 players actually that are on the board as far as points, shooting 26% from the field. You see the double team on the block.
All that help there in the post. They don't want Florida State to get anything there in the paint.
A little bit of miscommunication at the top of the key. Morgan Jones driving right, rolls around a bit. She can't get that one to go. And finally, the Panthers come down with the rebound.
This is what they want. They want transition.
So that was blocked underneath as Exenor tried to see if something was going to get going in transition. That's a 6th turnover, and on the other side, Sammy Cuisis with the bucket.
The next load for Exenor, I think on that last play, it wasn't there. The pass wasn't there. She forced it. She could have dribbled it out if she thought she didn't have it, or she could have tried to attack and get to the free throw line.
Right away, they're seeing if they can get something on the block and do. What a nice shot by Liatu King. Morgan Jones, Euro, all the way to the bucket. She can't connect there. Morgan Jones has yet to get on the board. Still looking for her first point. She's 0 for 4 from the field. So bouncing around a bit, it's a bit interesting as far as the flow for Panthers, but hey, you'll get the 2 any way that it can come to you.
Yeah, that was an unorthodox play right there. It kind of caught me off guard, but hey, I'll take it.
And so will the Panthers right now, only down 2 as they're trying to protect home court for their senior day.
There are all kinds of products in this world, things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
See, and you can only experience it on Tonal.
Season summary, it's been a rough one for them. They have 11 wins, 2-15 in the ACC. But as we mentioned earlier, 11 wins does tie the most in the Lance era. But more than anything, it's what they've been able to do to finish out. Yes, they're on the 8-game losing streak, but as you mentioned, Asia, they did play Louisville close. Syracuse, I was here for that game as well. And they were up 13 in the second half and just at the last second lost that ball game. So this is a team that's right there just looking for that extra piece to get over the hump.
I mean, they're always right there, breathing over your shoulder, right? And that's why that was one of Coach Samrau's main concerns. You have to play a 40-minute game with Pitt because they're not at all by any means taking their foot off the gas at any point in the game. So they can always scratch their way back into it if they're down. They can always push and make runs if they're up. That's the type of Pitt squad that Coach Lance has assembled here. I mean, there's just so much potential for them. It's exciting to see how great they can be in the future.
And you're looking at, too, how even with Amber Brown, she's just a junior, and building on that, and they only have the 2 seniors at this point that really don't get a lot of minutes for this squad, is Minnie Krapa on the bench right now, and she's dealt with injury. We did see Mary Dunn make the start, but a lot of optimism in this locker room. The turnover for Florida State, so the Panthers pushing the pace a little bit. But it's unfortunate, a couple of steps, so that's now the 7th turnover for the Panthers. Right when they do something well on the defensive end, it's like offensively, that's where they have to actually put things together.
Turnovers, that's been their Achilles heel. But you talk about that last defensive possession, Xander, she has been all over the floor. Just watch her running. Her rotations were great. She has high hands, and all these Pitt players right here, you see high hands, they're talking. You have Ibagwe communicating in the back line.
Nice take by Michaela Timpson.
I love Timpson's game. She has so much room for growth and potential, and she's just such a confident athletic, raw talent in the post for Florida State.
Averages about 7 points per game. She actually leads the team in blocks as well. Came into this one with 29 on the resume. And the quick response by Liatu King. So King now with 4 points. She's 2 for 3 from the field. As we mentioned, just one of those players that you want her to look for her shot just a little more because she's so efficient.
So efficient and so aggressive. When she's not looking for a shot, she's pretty much doing everything else out there on the floor.
Moving the ball around, but yet back-to-back turnovers for Florida State, so a sub will come in.
Timpson just got the mismatch there in the post, and even with players coming down and cramming on her, she's still able to get the shot off, and then King right here just says, you know what, I'm going to get this bucket right here from the high post.
Liatu King, 3 consecutive games in double figures. She has 4 games with 10 or more rebounds as well. Just solid all around. So took a while for Pitt to get on the board. It's a nice dish on the inside. Can't convert by Kwakwe. 2 nice looks underneath for the Panthers, but they just couldn't find a way to put the ball in the hole.
That's next level. You got to make that shot. That was a tough drive, and that's a tough pass by Xander. Right there into the post. You got to make those shots.
But the Panthers have hit 4 of their last 6 field goals. That last one, just a tough one. As Bianca Jackson dishes it off to Baldwin for the nice look on the left side.
And those are the plays we're going to be seeing all game. Attacking, driving, and those drop passes right there into the post. That's what both teams who both want to get into the paint, that's what they're going to look for.
Baldwin with 6 points. We talked about efficient. Well, she's 3 for 4 from the field as well. Kleska.
It's a great attack here. And then the drop pass, help comes over. Perfect drop pass right there to River Baldwin. She's just been playing, like you said, outstanding. And she switches in that lineup between her and Myers, and Coach said it's all about who's hot, who's playing well. That's who I'm going to start.
So unfortunately for River Baldwin, she'll pick up another foul. That will actually be her second, so quickly off the bench comes Valencia Myers. Dejanette Harris at the point guard position. Coach White said she's been playing a little bit more too in that position. 8 on the shot clock as King.
You see, quick turnaround here in the second quarter, sorry, but first quarter, Pitt, only 7 points, now 8 in the second quarter, and you compare that to FSU's. Bit of a flip-flop. Pitt's creating on the offensive end.
Well, you would hope so. Just seeing how they've been able to flip the script, as you saw before, just going back to the drawing board. And Coach White said, we're going to try and throw everything at them, but more importantly, how do they put things together offensively? Howard dishes it on the inside, and that's a nice look again for Myers.
It's all day. Attack from the high post, dribble, drop. The weak side help for Pitt has to be better, but if it's not there, hey, take advantage, FSU.
They made an emphasis on the inside. Myers only averaging about 6 points per game. She already is on the board for 4. Amber Brown on the back iron. Aaron Howard gets the rebound. You can see right away the presence that they're trying to make on the inside. Amber Brown with an emphatic rebound. Dishes it out. That misses everything, and let's see who comes up with this one. That's actually going to stay with the Panthers, I believe.
You can see the frustration with Harris as she walks to the bench.
So Exenor comes into the ball game, and as you mentioned, the frustration with Harris, well, she's also 0 for 4 from the field, especially that tough shot that we just saw.
Yeah, the air ball here, and then two players trying to make a hustle play, but it goes in favor of Florida State.
The quick reversal goes to Howard, and after making that first bucket, she's been cold from the outside. Now 1 for 4 from distance, and a nice response from Exenor.
Exenor, she's just super athletic. I mean, you watch how she just glides up and down the court, across the lane. She's just super quick, and she's definitely a mismatch nightmare.
Right now, putting her foot on the gas, she has 4 points. She only has 1 game in the ACC in double figures as she comes out of the pack with the rebound, but unfortunately, it looked like it went out of bounds for hers, but we'll go back to what she's doing well on the offensive end.
Exenor, it's just so easy, just a simple attack on the baseline. Saw that she had the closeout in that length and that extension for her to get to the rim. She's just so athletic and so poised and so quick. Hard to guard.
And you mentioned how Susan Rao can go into her bench and just rotate everyone. Now she's bringing back in Valenzuela as well as Morgan Jones. So approaching the 2-minute mark here in the second quarter. Just a 4-point game with the Panthers, a bit unorthodox.
Yeah, I
fall.
saw that.
So
I saw that she turned a little bit on her. She turned her ankle.
You saw right away Tracy Houston tried to put the ball on the floor. Take another look at it.
And you can see here just super funky, a funky landing right here. Ooh, and you saw that left ankle turn.
Looked like she stepped on the foot of Valencia Myers. But she continues to play on. Myers on the inside, saw the double team, but gets fouled on the inside as well.
Oh yeah, I saw it right there. Yep, she steps on the foot of Valencia Myers and rolls her ankle there, but was able to continue on. Now she's going to the bench. We're gonna check and see if she's doing okay.
Yeah, Malia Johnson comes in for her as well as Liatu King. And Courtney Weber takes a trip to the bench for Florida State. 1:49 on the game clock as that's knocked out of bounds by Exenor. Sammy Puisis back in the ball game for Florida State as well. So it's very interesting, Asia. We mentioned just the pace of the game. Both coaches talking about what they need to do as far as pace. Who do you think it's favoring at this point?
Well, right now, I would definitely say Florida State. I mean, Pitt, they would be doing a better job if they can convert on the offensive end, but they're just not able to do that. They're getting sped up. They're missing shots. They're airballing shots. They're turning the ball over. And Florida State, they're just taking advantage. They're pushing the ball, and they're getting all the looks that they want into the paint, especially with that dribble drop.
So Maria Gordon checks back into the ball game, looking to get things going for this offense for Florida State, and a nice bucket again for Myers.
So aggressive by Myers, I love it. And she had 2 people on her, but guess what? She had the size advantage, and that's knowing when to go up and when to pass out, but that was great. She had complete position under the basket.
So right now, Myers in the first half has matched her season average in points. Beautiful take on the right side by Liatu King.
Two Kings stepping up point production. We talked about it. She does everything else, but coach wanted to see her more on the scoring end, and she's been doing that today.
Well, how about this? She had her first career double-double against Texas A&M. You know a thing or two about them.
Oh yeah, my Aggies.
Less than a minute in this ball game as far as the first half, and how about that? Gordon just stretching the floor a bit.
So much confidence and so much poise as a freshman. I mean, the ceiling is so high for her. I still can't even believe that she's a freshman and playing this well.
Shooting 33% from the three-point line. She had 1 against Georgia Tech just the previous game. She only had 3 points, though. And the response by King. She's been the answer for the Panthers so far in this first half.
And she got bailed out with that pass to Exenor, because I thought it was going to be a turnover, but Exenor just kept it the ball in hustle play, but got a great pass out there to King and was just able to knock it down. But then, man, we talked about this freshman. Nickname is OMG, and OMG, she is great.
And with that, what an unbelievable start for Florida State. 28-1 lead that they have over Pitt going into the first half. What are some things that you've seen so far quickly?
Just attacking the paint, getting into the paint. You see here, paint, paint, paint. Low percentage shooting, but that's what we expected tonight. But I think the most important thing, like you said, is getting the most efficient shots if they can as possible, and that's right there in the paint.
3 threes have gone down for Florida State. 0 for 3 for the Panthers as we start the second half with Florida State like they started at the beginning of the game with the ball. Morgan Jones right away to the bucket for her first 2 points.
And Morgan Jones, the veteran, she might start out cold, but believe me, she at any point in the game can get hot, and when she does, it is dangerous.
Dangerous indeed. She has 4 straight games in double figures. Asia, she only has 4 games in single digits, so I think that's a better just picture of what she's able to do offensively. Coming into this game, she's just 13 points shy of becoming the 39th player in FSU history with 1,000 points. 6 on the shot clock for the Panthers. Harris at the top of the key. That went off. Harris has had a struggle for the day. She's currently 0 for 6 from the field.
And I want to credit Sammy Breezes. That was great defense on such a great offensive player like Harris. And Coach said it, that's an area that she's really improved is on the defensive end, whether she's guarding guards or whether she's guarding post inside with her size.
It's even really congesting the paint area for Florida State. Panthers with 4 on the shot clock. Florida State, Gordon trying to find something off the backboard, and that's going to be rejected, but not before there's a shot clock violation that goes against the Noles.
I'll take it. That was a great defensive possession. You got the shot clock violation. If that didn't go through, you would have had the block.
So far, Pitt starting off pretty well defensively.
Yeah, they're just sagging on those ball screens, like you said, really packing it in the paint and making it absolutely difficult, if not impossible, for Florida State to get in there.
Well, Pitt had a slow start at the beginning of the game as they're on the board once again. Amber Brown, not much there as far as just the surprise, because Amber Brown has been so consistent, but Pitt started off the game 1 for 9 from the field, and as you can see at this point, still in the ball game. Just
poor shooting early on, but Pitt's defense, such a stout team defensively, holding opponents to just 37%. One of only 2 teams in Division I to do that. You know who the other one is?
Who is it?
South Carolina.
How about that? We have a few substitutions for the jump ball that was just called underneath. That is going to remain with the Panthers. Exenor is in, as well as Valencia Myers, who had an impressive first half as well.
And I want to correct myself real quick on that last statement. So just so we're all clear, Florida State and South Carolina are the only 2 teams that have held opponents to 37% from shooting in 27 or more games. That's the stat.
There it is. There are the numbers.
Let me get it clear.
Asia Ellison.
Yeah, let me get it clear for y'all, because I know them other teams out there that have those games. Or excuse me, I'm sorry,
Pitt.
Pitt.
Ooh. And that was sent all the way down to the 4th. Oh my goodness. That was a double block from the Panthers.
Well, Morgan Jones, we know she can attack. But how about Ibakwe with the block?
Ibakwe sent it to the van, didn't she?
Van had it.
So 12 on the shot clock for the Noles. They've been a little bit more steady, getting into their half-court set. 5 now with Gordon at the top of the key. She's going to dial it up for her second 3 of the game. That one rims out. And Howard couldn't find a way to save the ball back in bounds. So a 5-point game. We already mentioned how Pitt was very slow offensively in the start. They only had 7 points in the first quarter. But it was a nice second quarter for both squads. Florida State had 15, Pitt with 14. They were down 7 at the half. And an easy look on the inside once again for Amber Brown.
Just a great steal by Amber Brown and a great pass there by Kleska, and got it right to her hand on that steal and was able to get the bucket. And that's great execution.
There was nothing that Pieces could do at that point, trying to see if she could face guard her. But a nice pass on the interior right now. It's a 6-0 run by the Panthers.
And there was no help side there as well.
Myers can't connect, but Morgan Jones flies across the paint for another rebound. Huisis drives baseline, pulls up for a mid-range jumper. That one is no good, and of course, Brown comes down with the rebound. Pluska at the top of the key, looking for Rita Igbokwe, who has been somewhat quiet on the floor as far as points. 4 points for her so far. Less than 10 on the shot clock. A shot by King for another 2.
King is just showing out today. That's a tough bucket right there.
King is the lone player in double figures for both squads. Started off hot, FSU, 4 minutes plus without a bucket. See if they can get things going here. You see a lot of pressure on the block trying to get the ball out of their hands. Morgan Jones silences the crowd right there.
Yeah, that mid-range of Morgan Jones, one of the things she has done to expand her game, and it's completely lethal. You got to get out there and get a hand on her, but she had the complete size advantage, that length, so she is able to shoot over defenders.
And her 6'2" frame, the senior out of Jonesboro, Georgia, continues to see if she can get on the board in this second half, where she was held scoreless in the first. Pulls it back there, finds Gordon at the top of the key.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good look by Pitt. They're swarming the paint, and the pass into the post just wasn't there.
Huisis gets that one to roll down, and so that's back-to-back buckets for Florida State. So a 5-point lead for the Noles. Amber Brown has been impressive in the second half, both on the glass and getting to her shot. A lot of attention that she's drawing in the paint. Rita Igbokwe going right at Myers. That's blocked, and we'll see who it sits with. It will stay with the Panthers. How about the Seminole connection? We'll break down what that looks like for both squads.
From lineups to throwdowns, shakes to shots.
Well, it's a bit of a family reunion for the Noles at the Pete. Well, Lance White spent 15 seasons under head coach Sue Simmerow. He was actually 6 seasons as the associate head coach. You see him there with Brooke Wyckoff, who actually filled in as interim head coach while Sue Simmerow sat out to take care of her mother last season. And the embrace between the two there. So we know that there's a lot of love there. Today, rather, they have much better things on their mind. Coach White still trying to look for his first win against Florida State. Right now, they have the advantage. Sue Simmerow, 8-0. This is the 9th meeting, and it's just really cool to catch up with both of them. Obviously, they both coached me, so I have stories that I could share on air for both of them, but more than anything, it's the family atmosphere that they created. You can see the family tree that Coach Sue Simmerow continues to just bring in. A couple of people on her staff with Morgan Tolles as assistant coach, as well as Morgan Tolles as assistant coach, but as well as Ivy Slaughter, the grad assistant. And on the other end with Coach White, it's really cool to see Josh Peterson a bit, and you can see the coaching tree for Sue Simmerow and their respective schools. Ronald Huey at Houston, Corey Close, who also coached me at Florida State with UCLA. So it just goes down the list, and every single person on that list, we still have this connection, and we're always checking in on one another, and it shows you how much this team means. Oh, look at that. How about, well, I don't know what to say.
Young Angel Gray and Coach Lance White. Wow. Ooh,
I was about 40 pounds lighter, and you could see I had bad knees.
Oh my gosh, that's
tendinitis.
the old school. That was the old school way to
roll.
Yeah,
it was like if I had a little bit of tendinitis. But more than anything, fun times at Florida State. We were able to take a nice picture before the game, before everything got a little bit more serious. And Sierra Brevard, who was actually on my team as well for 2 seasons, is in attendance as well on the baseline, and just being able to catch up with her. She's all throughout, sprinkled in the history books for Florida State, and just being able to catch up, being able to share stories. And you can see her right there with her family, just excited to be at the Pete from Ohio, so took the trip over. Currently living in Cleveland at this point, but it's fun just to have everybody in the building and reminisce a little bit on our time in the ACC, which is, I hate to say it, a couple of moons ago.
No, I enjoyed hearing all the stories that, you guys had to share about the Florida State program.
think it's even better when you're looking at how we continue to grow the game on both sides. And Coach White has his own coaching tree as well, with Danielle Santos Atkinson right now at Hofstra and Bridgette Mitchell now at Northeastern. So as you continue to grow the game, and Coach Sue and pass the baton to other coaches, they do the same. So that's really awesome to see. Short shot clock for Florida State. She can't get one off for Timpson. 4 still on the shot clock. Nice rejection underneath by Bakwe.
Bakwe with a double block in one possession. That is what she does best. That is why she's second, or third, excuse me, in the ACC in block shots.
So Exenor saves that one from sailing out of bounds, tries her hand at a shot, but that misses the mark. So we mentioned it coming back from break. It was a bit of a drought for both teams, still trying to figure things out since the break. Still a 5-point lead by Florida State. So Baldwin checks back in, and how about Bakwe?
Bakwe just so stout on the defense end with the block, and this is where you have to give her credit. She is the anchor to this defensive team. Her guards on the perimeter, they're allowed to lock up and sort of overplay their defense because they have her. They know that they have someone in that back line that's going to block the shot and protect the rim.
Coach White was very excited about talking about how she's improved with her hands. He said the next step for her is offense. Nice interior pass for the Panthers, and Amber Brown with a nice bucket.
Listen, when she polishes up that offense, it's a wrap. Getting it done on both ends.
Amber Brown with 8 points. Bucket underneath. All right, well, tomorrow the tournament, A History of ACC Men's Basketball, continues on ACC Network with episode 7 that highlights 1984 to 1989 at 9 Eastern, followed by episode 8 that breaks down the 1990 through 97. So new episodes of the 10-part documentary are available every Monday at 9/10 Eastern through March 7th, and you can always watch the past episodes on the ESPN app. Have you been able to catch up on any of those episodes, the history of the tournament, the first tournament?
I haven't.
Oh, we'll have to get you caught up. It's so intriguing. So that is a much needed basket by Pitt, because they went 3 minutes and 37 seconds without a field goal. We know this is a game of runs, but for the Panthers, they're just trying to see what's working best for them. Saw a little bit of a full court press trying to slow down Florida State. They haven't been much of a threat in transition. Now it comes down to sealing the deal, and a nice shot at the top of the key by Jackson.
And Jackson, she was the leading scorer last season, coming off the bench this season, not starting, but I'll tell you what, she gives Florida State such great energy, especially on the offensive end when she's coming in the games. Just a veteran player, a great leader.
Absolutely. She also had a clutch overtime basket against Georgia Tech. We highlighted that at the top of the game, and King with the response. It's been Brown and Liatu King have been that 1-2 punch.
Absolutely, and I mean, King, I'm still just impressed with King and just how she's been stepping up offensively. Doing everything else she still does. Batting point production, and how about Courtney Weber for 3?
Courtney Weber knocking down her 7th 3 of the season. If Bakwe turns a bit, the ball does the same, doesn't fall. She gets her own rebound and misses on the other side of the rim. So there is no reset of the shot clock, but they'll take it at the top of the key, and Kleska.
Yep, and coach is calling out a play.
7 on the shot clock. Close to a steal at the top of the key. 3, King, short, and that one sails out of bounds. So 10 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter as King takes a breather, getting a little extra time before the 4th quarter. Full court press by the Panthers, seeing if they can slow down Florida State. Not much success there as they get the bucket underneath, and Jackson beats the buzzer for the last bucket of the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's been back and forth, but King stepping up here and getting that jumper. But then on the other end, how about this? Courtney Weber shooting for 3, leading her Seminoles.
When I feel that pressure, I deliver.
You've spent years.
Everyone celebrate his tenure with Duke. And we now start the 4th quarter. Going back to the 3rd quarter, it was a 4-point game before FSU hit a 3 and a last-second bucket to end the 3rd quarter. So now we're at a 9-point advantage for Florida State.
You see Pitt already turning up. Look how high and how hard they are playing on the ball.
Rita Bakwe with the rebound. And we mentioned it earlier with Coach White, just how she is so important and vital, the anchor on the paint. So just finding that way to balance her scoring is so pivotal for this squad.
Once she gets that down, it's a wrap.
See them trying to get her the ball on the block, and that's going to be blocked out of bounds actually by Courtney Weber. So the Panthers will get the ball back with 12 on the shot clock. Johnson dishes it off to Amber Brown, who has been phenomenal in this game between her and Liatu King. But obviously, right on cue, you have Hayford that enters the chat.
And she can score. This is just another example of balanced scoring, getting other people to get in on the scoring wave, and Pitt can continue to do that. They're going to keep chipping away.
7 players on the board for the Panthers.
Look at the defense. You just saw Ibakwe get a deflection. Just look how heavy help.
Maria Gordon dishes it off. 4 on the shot clock. Courtney Weber can't get that one to fall, and that was a last-second heave for the Noles. We're seeing a little bit more pace from the Panthers, but then they turn the ball over. They did pretty well from 3rd quarter, but they pick up their 12th turnover.
Yeah, and this is just a great drive there. And a bucket there for Hayford. And yeah, Pitt keeping it close. You see score by quarter. They've been staying in tight, and it's just playing hard. They have stretches where they go down, but then they always come back up, and that's why you can't take your foot off the gas against this team. And they're coming out into this 4th quarter, turning up the defense.
As well as owning the glass a bit. They're winning in that department 32-26. That's an offensive foul that's going to go against the Panthers. So that's back-to-back turnovers for the Panthers as Sandrine Kleska checks in the ball game. Good call.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, she got her with the shoulder.
Dipped in quite a bit. You're seeing the 3-quarter court press for the Panthers. Myers demanding the ball on the inside as Brown falls back a little bit to prevent the interior pass. Howard with the backdoor pass. Rita Bakwe said, not here, not now.
Exactly what I mentioned before. When the guards on Pitt are overplaying and you get a backdoor cut, which was a great read by Florida State, they can rely on Ibakwe to hold it down in the paint and protect the rim.
Pitt has gone the last 2 possessions without a bucket. They need one here. Right away, they get the ball to Amber Brown that tries to drive on the left side, and she'll draw the foul. So Courtney Weber picks up the foul. That'll be her first personal foul as Morgan Jones checks back in the ball game for Florida State. Morgan Jones scored her first bucket here in the 2nd half. And now she is sitting with only 4 points. We mentioned she's gone 4 consecutive games in double figures. All right, and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Nothing But Net crew will wrap up the women's tournament 2nd round matchups with highlights and full breakdowns of each game. That's analysis and insight you can only get one place, right here on the ACC network and the ESPN app. It's tournament time. You know how it feels when you have to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do. And the destiny's in your hands, a lot like Florida State, where this win is very important for them to get, as well as probably one in the tournament as well. Because right now they're on the bubble as the first 4 out. One of those teams where Charlie Crean trying to figure out where Florida State falls. Amber Brown tracks it down. A nice look for Exenor on the left side. And that's going to lead to a timeout for Florida State. Sue Simrow not liking what she's seeing from her nose at this point. So Pitt right now only down 3, taking care of business with a little under 7 minutes left in this fourth quarter.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times.
In this ball game, Asia, here's one of them.
And it starts here with a tip by Ibakwe, and then Brown getting the ball, and how about that? Exenor with the little shot fake and able to get that layup in, and her teammates, her bench, they're hyping. I would be too. Pitt only down 3.
Started the quarter off down 9 after that run by Florida State, and Coach Sue saw enough, called the timeout. Right now, Pitt down only 3, but look at the scoring from King and Brown compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah, the dynamic duo of this game, 22 points out of the 41. Impressive performance by them two. I mean, they're just playing really hard.
That's what it comes down to, the dirty, the grimy plays that Coach White wants out of his squad, and being able to hear his speech even to his team. He said, we're just going to have to do the little things, and protecting home court was the message. And right out of the gate, a nice response from Florida State as Jackson knocks down the triple.
You got to expect that. She's a clutch shooter. We talked about that clutch shot against Georgia Tech where she made a great read to that jumper. This is how she's going to be down the stretch, and this is what Florida needs from her.
Ooh, and how about the response? Sandrine Kleska. So Kleska now with 7 points. 2 players in double figures for the Panthers. We already mentioned King and Brown as there's a foul at the top of the key.
Kleska just coming off the dribble and whoop, gets a nice little jumper right there.
It's such an art, right? The mid-range game is still important in today's game.
An art that I've never mastered.
A lot of contact in the middle of the paint between King and Myers. A little bit of indecision at the top of the key. They finally find Morgan Jones, and Myers flashes up. Doesn't like her look at the top of the key, so Howard likes hers and drains it.
Howard's really stepped it up and just showed off the bench that she's capable of stretching out the defense, and that's a great look by Valencia Myers. That's what Florida State wants to do. They want to work and play through their paint. Not necessarily that they score in the paint, but be able to work through it where they can get inside-out points.
It goes back to Liatu King. Kleska looking for an outlet, finds King back again. That one's off the back iron. How about Exenor with the rebound and putback?
Exenor, she has been playing extremely well today, just hustling, using her athleticism, and that was a great hustle to the boards and able to get that second chance shot.
5-point game as we're approaching the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Myers turns around, that jumper is no good, and King comes down with the rebound. So Florida State has won each of the first 3 quarters. Right now they are up 5 in this ball game. But as far as this quarter, Pitt winning 10-6. Exenor likes her look, but that is going to be poked out of bounds. And they will get it with 6 seconds left on the clock. Well, this is going to be an interesting one as Florida State right now knocking it down. Howard with a nice look from the corner.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What if we could go further, jump higher, or run the whole thing? What if we could be who we're meant to be?
And become who you look up to. This is the moment it all starts.
This is the moment it all starts.
But only if we get the chance to have it.
Official grocer of the ACC. Boy, do we have a ball game right now. Less than 5 minutes to go as Florida State trying to push their win streak over the Panthers to 9. But the Panthers have other ideas as they are trying to win for their lone 2 seniors on Senior Day. Took up their 3rd ACC win, and then Florida State, or Lance White rather, trying to get his first win over Florida State since he's been at Pitt in his 4th season. 6 on the shot clock. The Panthers going right at the basket, and King just continues to pile on the points.
Continue to pile on the points indeed, and you look at their percentages, we know that scoring is something they've had trouble with. In the first quarter, 23% from the field, and now in the 4th quarter thus far, they're at 80%. When you talk about the difference in efficiency from the field.
King and Brown for Pitt have 24 points. The rest of the team with 23. Florida State trying to look for a response. Baldwin to the bucket. She gets fouled. Slow to get up, but she will take a trip to the free throw line. So 3-point ball game. This has been a close one throughout. We did see a 10-point lead for the Panthers, or rather Florida State. And then the Panthers have always done something to stay right in the ball game, but Florida State doing a great job with the response. Well, we close out today's women's basketball quadruple header with an exciting matchup for you right here on the ACC Network and ESPN app. Elisa Canane and number 3 NC State are in Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. The Wolfpack lead the ACC 16-1. The Hokies right now are 3rd at 13-4. Less than 4 minutes in this ball game as no free throws were made on that last one for Baldwin, so we're still looking at a 3-point ball game. Exenor at the bucket, couldn't get that one to fall, and that's on the floor. You could see Coach White and the rest of the bench just hungry for this win at this point. So Baldwin picks up her 3rd personal foul. That's a 2nd team foul for Florida State. Amber Brown will take a trip to the bench. You would think it would be a quick one.
And I'll tell you what, Pitt, in this stretch of the 4th quarter, they need to take care of the basketball. That's the most important thing for them on the offensive end. Take care of the basketball, value possessions.
Well, you can't score without the basketball, and that's something that Coach White said that they have to fine-tune coming into this ball game. He said those games where we have 20 or more turnovers, we cannot be in that position. Right now, they're sitting at 13, better than their previous game at 19.
And most of those turnovers, they came in the first half. So they're taking great care of the ball in the second half. And it shows, 80% from the field.
Houston couldn't connect, but that second chance opportunity by King. So that's a foul by the Noles. So Erin Howard picks up her 3rd personal foul, so a couple of fouls picked up. Actually, it's her 1st. 3rd team foul for Florida State. Tracy Houston driving baseline, and that's an easy call as Baldwin stepped on the baseline and was able to pick up the charge.
Yeah, just great defense there by River Baldwin.
So Rita Igbokwe comes back in the ball game for the Panthers. So you have Liatu King on the floor, as well as Destiny Struther, who has yet to get on the board, and she's a 3-point threat for the Panthers.
Watch how much of a difference it makes when Igbokwe is in the game. With her presence. And that's why they're going to ball screen. They're going to look to get her out, but she stays home. She stays in the paint. She's going to sag off.
Nice find to Morgan Jones, but she can't get the baseline jumper to fall. So here come the Panthers.
Yeah, she disrupts so many offenses. I'm talking about Igbokwe. She disrupts a lot of teams' offense with her presence and ability in the paint.
So another turnover, back-to-back turnovers for the Panthers. This one goes against Hafer. With the push-off at the top of the key, that's the 15th team turnover. Pleska checks back into the game.
It is so important to value the basketball, especially when you make great plays in the defensive end. You don't want to give Florida State back the ball. You want to capitalize and score on the offensive end.
Bianca Jackson dishes it off. Morgan Jones right away, driving to the right. Baldwin with the cleanup, can't finish on the left side. Rita Bakwe with the rebound. Early advance to Struther. She didn't find her shot there, so Kleska asking for a screen at the top of the key. So a reset for the Panthers as they're getting things going offensively. Kleska guarded by Gordon at the top of the key. A lot of time going off the clock. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. A heave, and actually that's gonna be a foul that goes against Bianca Jackson. And that will be a shooting foul as well.
It was tough to see from that angle there, but great attack there. And Bianca Jackson perplexed at the call, but
well, that is her first personal foul, but going back to Destiny Struther, a 67% free throw shooter. We saw her getting up shots after shoot-around, had back-to-back games in double figures, but has struggled on the day. Struther with just the 1 point from the free throw line. Almost tipped out of bounds by Exidor, and actually we'll see who comes up with this one. It's been a bit of a scuffle and a timeout actually called by Jackson. So the Panthers trying to get things done on the defensive end right now. It's a 2-point lead for Florida State. Can they close it out?
There are all kinds of products in this world.
Florida State right now has an 8-0 advantage in this series. Coach White looking to get his first win over Florida State, and so far you've seen the advantage in the paint for Pitt.
And look at the paint points, 20-6 in the second half. That's made a huge difference for Pitt, and that's where they're efficient. Most of their efficient shots are coming from.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Howard dials it up from deep, rolls around, and it looks like Rita Bakwe comes down with the rebound. Early advance. Amber Brown trying to find King. A lot of interior passing. Rita Bakwe was looking for a desperation pass out. Instead, turns the ball over. So King tried to reach in for the steal. She instead picks up the personal foul. So King picks up her first personal foul. And with that one, now Florida State is in the bonus. So 2 shots for Bejadi. How about the series of events? It almost looked like the Panthers could tie the ball game in transition. It almost got a little overzealous and turned the ball over, and now Pitt, Florida State at the free throw line the rest of the way.
Overzealous, that's the best way to put it. Pitt, next level for Pitt is, because their defense is there, their defense is stout. They play extremely hard, and that's where their offense will come from. But when you get on the offensive end, you gotta be poised. You gotta make the right decisions, especially down the stretch in games like this.
So instead of tying, now the Noles have a 4-point lead over the Panthers as we're approaching the 1-minute mark here in the 4th quarter. Bakwe dishes it off. Bakwe right now with 6 points, 9 rebounds. Liatu King trying to see if she can free up herself for a paint touch. A lot of contact on that last series. King not too thrilled with that call, or no call rather. Either way, the game continues in Florida State. Right now we're in control. So Kleska fouls. You can see here on this play, just I would say a little bit of contact, but the game goes on, and King was not too thrilled about the no call. But instead, Sarah Bejadi at the free throw line. She knocked down the first 2, the previous 2. Misses on the first attempt. But completes the second. So a timeout is called for the Panthers. It'll be a full timeout for the Panthers as they try and fine-tune some things and see how they want to close out this ball game. Some things that you want to see from them that they can indeed get back into this one.
First and foremost, take care of the ball. I mean, that's been their Achilles heel. We've heard Coach say, we've talked about it this entire game. When they have turnovers, they can't score the ball. They're doing everything right on the defensive end. But you got to capitalize. You got to put up points to win games, and that's exactly what they need to do.
You can see the huddle with the Panthers, Rita Gbakwe, and we talked about Pitt, their slow start 1-9, but for Florida State, they've been pretty dominant. They won the first 3 quarters. And hopefully it doesn't come down to a last-second shot, because last night the men on the other side playing Virginia, this is what it looked like to close the ball game. A full court heave. Matthew Cleveland for the game-winning 3. Knocks that one down, so you see that finish, 64-63 by the Noles. Today at shoot-around, they're practicing that because that was what they dialed up. Earlier today, you see the full court heave. From OMG, steps up and knocks down the 3, so I think they're well rehearsed. They're ready for the moment if it comes down to that, I would say.
Yeah, situational play, and so we know if that's the case, if it comes down to it, we know that Jackson's gonna be that baseball thrower, and we know that OMG, the fantastic clutch freshman, is gonna be that clutch shooter.
And her name is so perfect for that shot too as well. Kleska looks at her own shot, nothing there. Morgan Jones pulls down the rebound. And now you would think it's foul time, as there's only 1 second that separates the game clock and shot clock. So Struther picks up the personal foul. That's her 3rd. And as we mentioned, it's 2 shots the rest of the way for Florida State. And just to revisit, the Panthers were only down 2 before they put Florida State in the bonus, and they've been pretty efficient from the free throw line. And second, that miss, and one from Bejadi. But after that timeout from Sue Simrau, it seems like the team has been a little bit more on the same page about how they want to close this game out. So the Panthers will call the timeout. They'll also be able to advance the ball, get a better look and angle for what they want to do and execute. So 6-point game, just a 2-possession game, a lot of time, 25 seconds left. You got 2 players for the Panthers that are in double figures. Do you go for the 3? Do you go for the 2? What's most important at this point?
They need the high efficient shot, so I'm gonna go for the 2. And like you said, they got their 2 leading scorers who've been dominating this entire game. So I would go to them between Amber and between King. And then you have these players, they're all great rebounders around the perimeter and on the inside. So I'm going for that too. And you know, I'm hoping to get a rebound in this possession.
Amber Brown takes the ball out. She finds Kleska quickly. We'll see what they can execute here. Right away, they find Struther. Struther has struggled from the field. Amber Brown with the rebound, and that's one way to get 3 on the board. Count the basket for Amber Brown, and she'll have an opportunity to get 3 the untraditional way.
Amber Brown, so clutch, the missed 3. And she's just right there, hustles, and finds another way to get a 3-point play.
Can't complete the 3-point play, so a lot of timeout. You can hear it right away from Florida State. They were going to get that timeout.
Well, they sure were.
Coach White, you can see his lips. She's falling out of bounds, so instead, Florida State does get an opportunity to get the ball back with that timeout. 14 seconds left on the game clock. We're still looking at a 2-possession ball game. Had Amber Brown made that free throw, this could have been avoided because it would have been just a 1-possession game. They still would have had to foul, though, with the amount of time on the game clock.
Still would have had to foul, but that's the value of free throws down the stretch. You got to knock them down because you put yourself in a greater position to be able to pull out the win when you make the free throw. He thought she was falling out of bounds before the timeout was called.
So I think it just comes down to that. Where was Myers when the actual timeout was called? So I'm not sure if they are going to review this, but they're actually gathering with one another and actually talking about the gather with Coach White, how she gathered, called the timeout, and that's when they officially called the timeout. Brian Burnett, Daryl Humphrey, and Linda Miles with the officiating crew. So 14 seconds left in this ball game, 4-point game. We'll see who the ball goes to. Their high percentage free throw shooter. You have Gordon that is actually tied up. The foul there actually called. So Kleska picks up her third personal foul. Not many players in foul trouble for the Panthers. For both squads, actually, no one with over 3 fouls. So Gordon steps up to the line for 2. As we mentioned, 67% free throw shooter. She connects on the first one. And connects on the second one as well. Gordon knocks down the 2 as Rita Bakwe checks in for Exenor. There'll actually be a timeout by the Panthers. We're going back to that play that Florida State actually got the ball back.
They're trying to see here if she had possession of the ball, she was out of bounds, and Coach Lance, he's just not happy. He believes that it shouldn't have went their way.
And I've known Coach White for quite some time, and I'll say I've never witnessed him throwing a board. So that one definitely upset him. But now it's the next play, and what can the Panthers do? Down 6, 2-possession game, 12.4. Right now it's in the hands of Florida State as they are in the bonus. Both teams in the bonus, actually. So something to look forward to. We already said coming out of the gate who would it go to. Struthers, a 3-point shooter, but has struggled from the field. Once again, it goes to her. She misses everything. Rita Bakwe with the rebound. It rolls off the right side. 5 seconds left. And actually Amber Brown picks up another 2. Down 4, 4 seconds left. Morgan Jones with the ball. And it's taken some time for actually the Panthers to commit the foul. So So 2 seconds left. This one is all but done as Morgan Jones step-ups to the free throw line. Morgan Jones struggled a bit offensively as she has 4 points, 2 for 9 from the field, and this is her first trip to the free throw line. For 1.
You have to credit Pitt's defense and their scouting. I mean, we talked about it. He said, keep the ball. We want to keep the ball out of her hands. And when she does get it, make Morgan Jones shoot tough 2s. And those are exactly the looks that she has been getting.
So that one was kicked, as the official is saying, and it's actually going to be taken out by the Panthers. But Florida State just 1.2 away from getting another win in the ACC. It'll be their 10th ACC win. And they came into this ball game in a 3-way tie for 7th place with BC in Miami. And now they continue on as they finish now 16-12, 10-8 in conference play. And Florida State moves on and wins against the Panthers 9-0. We have player of the game that will join us in just a few, as River Baldwin had an outstanding game, and we will be able to chat with her about what this win means for this squad. 9 points, 4 for 6 from the field,